My name is Dr. Melinda Backer, and I am a teaching associate professor in the Department of English. So, my first foray into generative AI was actually with my English 295 course, which is called Writing in the Workplace. And in that course, the way that I brought in Gen AI was in the assignment called the job application packet, where students have to produce um, a tailored cover letter and resume to a specific job posting that they find online. And the way that I integrated AI into this larger project was to have students use either Chat GPT or Perplexity to draft a first version of their cover letter in response to the job application or the job posting that they were looking at, and then edit and revise it accordingly to see if they could actually get their own voice to be a part of what was initially generated in that prompt. And then they had to reflect on both the process and the changes that they had to make. In English 295 specifically, it has become something that is not just isolated into a 2 week or 1 month period. I actually talk about it throughout the entire semester because in the professional world, according to my colleagues who have jobs outside of academia, it is becoming more commonplace to use, and therefore I think it's essential that our business students understand its utility and its limitations. So I have been using it kind of throughout the semester. Early on, we will cover the ethics and kind of fundamentals of AI use, specifically using LLMs and generative AI, and what the kind of common pitfalls are, and prompt generation. And I kind of include those in each of the major assignments that we have. They tend to direct them toward ChatGPT first because it's what they're most familiar with in their heads as generative AI. And if they're not already using ChatGPT as kind of a chat bot, they're using integrations such as Copilot or Grammarly, the paid version, that has the kind of Gen AI integration within their writing platforms. So to kind of push them away from that, I encourage them to use Perplexity or ChatGPT on the websites themselves. That way they kind of think of it more as, or they can perceive it more as something that is outside of their own writing instead of something that's just like a spell check that's embedded into their Google Docs or their Word documents or whatever platform or software they use for writing. Has been largely positive. Initially, I started doing this, I believe, in spring of 2024 and late fall of 2023 semesters. So initially, students were a little hesitant. I had a few people, like two or three out of 25 to 50, say, I feel like this is kind of taking up class time that we could spend actually learning these writing skills a little more effectively. But since then, and since I have included it kind of consistently over the last couple of years, students have said that they really appreciated the opportunity to familiarize themselves with the tools and do things like prompt generation and be aware of what generative AI can offer and what its actual limitations are when it comes to critical thinking and applications, I guess, in the real world. Technical aspect of it. Um, I I guess as an instructor, I often assume that students have a higher level of technical knowledge and understanding of how systems work than I do. But I've actually found that's not the case when it comes to generative AI. Like I said, sometimes students see things like Copilot or whatever Gen AI assistant they have embedded in their word processor that they use as just a natural part of it, and they don't really pay attention to all the options, the features, customizations, etc. So kind of talking them through on a technical level what LLMs are, how they're used and how they can use them, and what sort of options there are has been the most challenging. The actual technical aspects of setup, execution, and even the more commonplace things like how to copy paste your chat log into a citation so that your instructors can see what the conversation was between you and the generative AI chatbot, etc. That's been the most challenging thing. The most important things that you can do to incorporate generative AI into your classroom, regardless of whether or not it's a writing intensive or WC course or writing based course at all, is to have reflection on what the output is, its successes, its failures, and what kind of edits need to be made in order for it to fulfill its specific role. Because I think that sometimes students see it as an easy answer to anything. Generate code, let's just ask ChatGPT to do it. But you still need to be cognizant of what you're asking, what you're receiving, and what changes need to be made to make it appropriate for whatever situation. So any kind of reflective based activity that you can do in your classrooms, or anything that gets students talking about both the kind of successes and limitations of generative AI, can be really, really helpful.